I did have two questions. Don't know if you could answer them. Because when reading through your motion and everything you presented, I felt also more things might be happening. I was also thinking about the government's maybe answer, what their counter answer could be. Number one, have they submitted all the full discovery yet, or not yet?
It's as you know, in federal cases, it comes in tranches, and so it's rolling in, which is just the way it is.
Yeah, and the reason why I thought about that is like, if I'm the government and you're doing a motion to dismiss based on and complete legitimate point when you argue it logically, hey, you presented something to the grand jury that is non-factual, which you prejudiced my client, this is not how it works, we got to dismiss. But still, usually in these detention hearings, when I'm reading them, usually we will hear, hey, we had, and we did see some things about maybe not necessarily wiretaps, but intercepted calls or like text messages. Doesn't feel like there's any smoking gun where it's like, hey, this is the shooter who's saying Durk paid him and here's the money. And I'm waiting to see if they have anything like that. Or is it just like this like trudged together bullshit where it's like, yeah, well, apparently his team used a business card and it's his business. And well, he's rapping about something that kind of loosely relates to the crime. And the other guys who we think did it, that's his friends. Those seem like very loose. And if you look at each of those situations just by itself, it looks like bullshit. Like you could deconstruct all of those and it doesn't look like they have a case. But I don't know if they have something else that they're like, hey, no, we have a bunch of guys that we flipped. Have you been, I don't know if you could say it, are you aware of anything else beyond these lyrics that they kind of have that they're going to present or try to either keep them in jail or that's definitely their strategy in how they try to prove this?
I don't know what their strategy are, what their strategy is. I have to respect, the protective order. But we just say we wait patiently, and as different tranches, never thought I'd say the word tranche before, but it's like part of the business now. As they come in, we go through everything. And we're as anxious as you and everybody is to go through those. And then what we do is we keep Durk informed, we're grateful that there is a system of communicating not only in person, but we're able to Zoom with him as much as we want. And so we get it, we go through it with him, and we're just as anxious as anybody, as things come in. But you're the motion to dismiss and the responses that are coming, you're kind of up to date with everybody. Obviously, there's other things that are covered by the protective order.
Could you explain to some of the folks out there who might just not understand completely what they're alleging, but what that means legally? What has to be proven for that to be an actual conviction? For example, we hear murder for hire.
Yeah.
What does that mean federally?
It means a potential life sentence.
Okay, but
that's the biggest thing it means.
Now, just okay.
It means that you are responsible for orchestrating something that you might not have physically been part of it, but you're responsible for orchestrating it. And then there's alternative aiding and abetting, and so it's just different ways of saying that you may be on the outside, but you are the person that organized and directed, and so. That's what we have to be aware of as we defend the case. Do they need to prove, like, for example, because again, we keep hearing murder for hire. I've never heard once how much money, right? We never heard, okay, this is how the transaction was happened. The only thing we heard via the indictment, hey, there was a conversation about payment at some In-N-Out burger spot, right? And we don't know, okay, this guy, and then we hear other inquiries of people supposedly saying, what's up with the money? But we never hear someone say, hey, I got the money. I got the 50,000 or the 80, whatever it could be. And I'm going to give you this. Durk sent it to me, wired it to me, or he cashed out it, whatever. Obviously wouldn't do that. But do they have to prove in a murder for hire that someone got paid? That is a very important part of their case. So you bring up a great point because, you look at these indictments that I call speaking indictments where everything's just laid out. You're like, oh my God. And so really I'm kind of limited because of the protective order to what's in that indictment to a certain degree, right? This is a speaking indictment, but you're accurate. It speaks, but it leaves a lot blank. And I think that a jury would have expectations of the government being able to show that some of these elements have taken place. They're just not going to take the government's word for it. The government's going to have to show, there's going to have to be some evidence, not just an opinion, especially because most federal judges now in these speaking indictments, they do not send the indictments out for that exact reason. A lot of judges are of the opinion, I'm not sending it out, prove your case, and then we'll just tell them the elements of the charged offenses. But I'm not going to let you kind of get through the back door, what you didn't get in through the front door.
Yeah, that's hopefully that happens more often. So, likelihood of a plea. I think a lot of people have seen like this seems like it's a do or die thing. This is kind of like it's going to be like a 1 or 0 type of situation. You're either or you're not. Is Durk, from your understanding, or you as a lawyer right now, as his criminal attorney, are you open to possible conversations about plea deals? Are you thinking, no, we're going all the way? Would you entertain it, just entertain it, because that's your job to listen to it and maybe present it to Durk, or that's just off the table?
It's a conspiracy to commit murder case. It's an all or nothing case, and he did not participate in a conspiracy to commit murder. And so there is no alternative. It's a life sentence, potential life sentence. So this case is going to go to 12 people.
What's the timeline on that looking like? I've seen a lot of people when it came to I'm even surprised that the judge said no to a continuation for Diddy's case, and they're like, May 5th, you guys are picking a jury. That would mean that within a year, and obviously the federal courts move way faster than bogged down state courts. When do you think that Durk will possibly get to a trial?
So we have an October trial date, and so our eyes are on that October trial date. A lot is dictated by how much evidence comes in, and the difference between our case and that case is that's a single defended case. That's a one-person case.
Yeah, okay.
So it's really difficult. Generally speaking, when you have a one-person defendant case and you don't have a zillion different parties, your dates stick a lot more. But when you have a half dozen people and you have different lawyers making different arguments saying, this wasn't made available to me, this wasn't made available to me, you have 6 different arguments. So we look at the October date, and that's our mindset is the October date, but we're also extremely mindful of the fact that we got a half dozen lawyers, a half dozen schedules, and so who knows what will happen. But right now we're focused on October. Whether that happens or not it's not unique because there's so many different parties that are involved.
Do you expect any more superseding indictments, or do you think what we have now is probably what will be taken to trial?
I just don't ever guess that. I always take the position on superseding indictments of these allegations are from several years ago now. You've had plenty of time to think it through. Why are you going to supersede? You've had the opportunity to think it through.
I feel like they're always trying to keep an investigation going, all right? And I think they're trying to flip people. Hey, by the way, and I think the protective order will bar you from answering this, but I'll ask it anyway. This is internet chatter. The internet has eyeballed or pointed at one guy, some guy named OTF Jam. They claim he's the co-operant. Is he the co-operant?
Yeah, I can't really comment on anything that's outside of the indictment.
Are there any co-operants?
I just
had to ask.
Yeah.
I had to ask.